What do you consider yourself good at? Come on, you could tell me. I won't judge. Probably. Here, I'll give you a few painfully quiet seconds to really think and reflect about yourself. I can wait. If you had a hard time answering this question, first,
stop being so harsh on yourself. You are a strong and capable human being.
But second and most importantly, if after further pondering you feel as though you don't have any notable skills, then that's a real shame. Well, okay, let's say you weren't able to answer this question. Let me ask you this. What do you want to be good at?
What would you like to be when you grow up? Hearing.
Everyone can answer this question. We all have aspirations in regards to our abilities. Many people want to learn how to play a sport like bowling, golf, or football, or a new instrument, or a fun game like chess or Sudoku, or effectively trolling idiots on the internet with class. This one takes quite a bit of training to do, the art of degeneracy. We all have things we wish to get good at, but we often never even commit to these dreams, sitting on our sofas, achieving overall but excellently formed aspirants. I bet, though, that if you ask most people how they feel about their lives, they would say they are relatively satisfied with them. They aren't completely miserable, have a fair amount of social connections, maybe even a lover. Most have a job and decent income, and have things to look forward to. So why am I saying all of this then? If people are relatively, in a significantly broad sense, happy, or at the very least content, then what point am I trying to make? Well, if you've clicked on this video willingly and don't have a gun held to your head with a ransom on your family, you probably know where I'm going with all of this. If for the people that aren't satisfied, or aren't happy, then do I have a proposition for you? Something I've really noticed from a lot of people in my life that are mentally unwell or just feel lost or helpless, or just bored as fuck, which, for that I say, that's on you, buddy. Most of the time, these people don't feel or seem like they have any noteworthy hobbies or skills outside of the ones related to their work, if they even are working. Now, obviously, everyone has stuff they do outside of their essentials in life. Everyone has hobbies in a broad sense. But when I say hobbies in this context, I mean a skill that can be constantly developed over a prolonged period of time, that translates to some sort of output and requires increased brain activity and cognitive function. So things like collecting, traveling, thrifting, gaming, solving jigsaw puzzles even, don't truly count as developable hobbies. But things that spark a competitive sense of improvement or force you to become a better version of yourself, to be equal or better than others in whatever area it is, that's what I mean. So competitive chess, learning piano, or mastering a language, competitive gaming, speed solving puzzles, all of these things have measurable skill and knowledge which can be both constantly expanded and developed over years, even decades. And you can constantly be aiming to be more and more proficient and maybe even a world class. This isn't to say simpler leisures and pleasures in life should be completely abandoned for hard work skills. More chill activities have a great place in anyone's life. We all need things in which to kind of go no thoughts, head empty with, and just kind of relax with some friends or family and indulge in a simple but fun activity. But oftentimes people lack that push in their life to truly excel in something. That's where hobbies can come in. I think I could speak for most people when I say that when you feel like you're lacking in whatever it is you're doing, I don't feel completely in control or good enough, you're not happy. Most people don't like the feeling of helplessness and being inferior to others. When you feel you're the only one in your class who just doesn't get the content of the class and feels so behind and stupid, it's not a good feeling. You don't feel like you belong, like you don't have a reason for being there and trying. And if you experience this feeling all day at school and come home to a whole lot of scrolling through social media, seeing everyone post these crazy clips of things they've done or made, places they've been, friends they're hanging out with, and your depressed ass sitting there like, why can't I be this good at anything or have this much fun? Well, you can. You can and you should. I firmly believe that everyone should take a stab at learning something on their own. Something that they are truly passionate and interested in, and want to develop as a strong, skillful ability. And I say this all from experience. I was one of those people. I have a whole slew of mental health problems, which I can elaborate on in other videos if the time or opportunity arises. But I eventually reached a point of uselessness. I didn't feel like I had anything I could truly put time into. or have anything I enjoyed enough to get good at, or anything I was good at. And in my lowest of lows, I fought to prove to myself, most of that I do indeed have stuff that I'm good at. That thing I aim to do is speedrunning. Those uninformed or unaware of what speedrunning is, it is a facet of gaming which involves playing through a game or a section of one as quickly as possible, usually with differing goals or restrictions so as to instill different kinds of challenge for the player. This hobby has quite an extensive history and has grown to become one which is almost synonymous with gaming itself. It is easier to get into than ever and has such a large reach in terms of games and players. It's popping in a way which it never has before. It even has sparked competitions, both online and in person. Yes, there are speedrunning tournaments. This is how big of a thing this has become. Personal story time! Before this point in my life, I have been following speedrunning happenings on the internet since about 2010, with the hobby existing before then, but really started to grow rapidly in popularity around this time. I followed a whole bunch of games, and even sort of did it myself back at this point. I would play time trials in various games that had that mode, so I had a clock on the screen in game and didn't have to have the timer up on the computer. I played many games, but one of my all-time favorites was Crash Team Racing for the PlayStation 1, a kart racer spin-off of the title's namesake, Crash Bandicoot. I played this game a lot, and absolutely loved it as a kid, and even after taking breaks from playing it to play other kart racers like Mario Kart and even other Crash racing games, I came back to it frequently, just see if I could beat my times I set previously. Competing for your times is pretty natural and practically a given when it comes to racing games, so these kinds of games are among the earliest in speedrunning history, as well as other games which have in-game timers. Up until the most crucial point in my life, I didn't take speedrunning very seriously. I enjoyed dabbling and casually seeing how fast I could beat something, and at that point I was already considering trying to take it seriously, but I didn't necessarily take it to the next step yet. But once I went to the mental hospital in December 2019, I really had a moment of life reflection. Here I was in a depressing, scary point in my life, having to come to terms and cope with what problems now lie in my own head and its interpretation of living. How do I do that? I wanted to do so many things still, but I just haven't motivated or pushed myself to do them. I have accomplished a lot up to this point as well. I was an extremely proficient Piano Tiles 2 player in 2018 to 2019, having beat some insanely hard custom songs and mastered Minecraft. I had become a lead Kirby scientist in Smash Bros. For Wii U from 2016 to 2018, having found and theory crafted a lot of Kirby combos and how to play the character in an optimal sexual character.
Oh my god, bro.
Now, by this point in 2024, I'm the only one left on this planet who knows that much about Kirby, and it's all just sitting up there now. I really need to make an extensive video cataloging my knowledge for that before I get Alzheimer's, I swear to God. One day I'll get to it. TM. I knew how to play snare drum and trumpet really well also, and was in general fairly musically inclined in a more natural sense. Not quite gifted, but I had a good sense of memory when it came to music, and the general feel, if you will.
Nice.
I could keep going. My ability to draw, I was in school for culinary at that point. I had a lot of friends and strong online presence. I had a lot to live for up to that point, and knew that the reasons would only keep growing, and yet I felt as though I didn't have that thing in my life which completed the set. And that's when it hit me. I had a world record already from 1 month ago, as well as a few unofficial ones, all in the same game. My favorite game, Pat. Why don't I just do that more? And so I did. Shocker. 4 years later, I am one of the best actively playing players and a top-level competitor, with an insane game sense and knowledge, to be honest, and too many hours to my name. I'm on a journey to prove myself, and solidify myself in the game's history. Going for best US player, then top 20 in the world, top 10, get more world records, hit milestones not thought possible, and just see how far I could go, you know. Another day at the office. And I've never felt more happy. I've never felt more confident in myself for being able to achieve something that I really wanted to do. Like, I've tried shooting for things which I wanted to do and achieve before. I mean, that's what Piano Tiles and Smash were initially, and I got really good at those things, which I put effort in. But I didn't recognize that. It took me achieving something which mattered to me to see that. It took me pushing myself that extra mile and feeling rewarded for my efforts. To notice that I had that in me the entire time. All my life, I've had the ability and capability to acquire, achieve, and do whatever I set my mind out to. And that I had the mental ability to learn. Being able to look at my YouTube channel, or the leaderboards I've submitted to, and see all those times I set, seeing the skill that I have displayed to others, knowing that I am at a level which only a select few can truly compare to, and say that they have similar or superior ability in, and that I can surpass those. It's really an incomparable feeling, and it pushes me to keep going. I realize what I have done in the past is of a similar nature. I've finally realized how skilled and special of a person I am, and what potential I have left to unearth. And that's all thanks to a funny orange fox looking thing riding a go-kart doing funny fast shit. Now obviously, not everyone is going to have the same life path as myself, nor do I anticipate most of you watching to pursue a similar hobby, but that's not necessarily the point. My hobby is pretty hard, I will admit. It is definitely not for everyone. It's maybe even what people would consider a psychotic hobby, quote unquote, considering I am doing the same thing over and over until stuff works. Although there is a method and logic in regards to how I practice, approach improvement, etc., as is the case for most people, still there is a lot of repetition of the same game. Some people may find they want a more varied hobby.
It is going to be deflected by God.
Some people might want a skill which can be applied to a lot of different situations and scenarios, such as maybe an instrument. This is, in my opinion, one of the most tried and true skill hobbies that people choose to pursue. If you have any musicality in your being whatsoever, you can pursue an instrument and learn how to play it. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as it is one which can be developed over a longer period of time to the point where it becomes a genuine time investment. It doesn't matter how good you are, doesn't matter how good you get. The point is you are applying yourself to a task at hand and constantly trying to get better and learn new things. I guess this is the major point I am trying to make. I think it is an imperative aspect of being a human being, trying to expand your knowledge and abilities. For all of our lives, we are being forced to do and learn things in which we don't want to do. So why not break up that monotony with something refreshing and engaging? As I've mentioned, there are inherent mental health benefits that come with engaging your brain with learning new skills. Although I want to look at one aspect, the fact that learning improves brain health and memory. When you learn something, or do anything really for that matter, it creates new neural pathways and strengthens ones which are relevant or already established. Over time, new ones come in to replace old ones which don't get used much, and over time your brain shifts and develops to be specialized to its lifestyle and knowledge. Everything you know, say, do, think, every possible thing the brain recognizes and does gets stored in neural pathways. All of this as a result keeps your brain constantly in action, which is good, great even. The less you use your brain, the more dormant it becomes and thus becomes harder to use. And learning becomes harder. Memorization becomes harder, and you will find that you will start to struggle with new tasks, because the brain will start to weaken at creating neural pathways. And this is where the developable skills come in. Learning how to do new things and developing them over time can keep your brain constantly engaged enough to maintain a healthy balance of functioning. This will help protect the brain from aging too quickly by promoting what is called neuroplasticity, essentially the brain's ability to create and alter neural pathways and stay malleable, essentially. It's a muscle after all. You gotta keep using it to make it stronger. If you don't use it, you lose it. I think another benefit of keeping yourself constantly learning that isn't really recognized is that you'll naturally increase your desire to learn more, and possibly broaden your skill sets even more, which will only strengthen all these benefits learning has on your brain. So I've nerded it out on you all enough, I think. I've yapped, and whether I have convinced any of you into looking into a skill or a hobby you have interest in developing or not, all I hope is that you have listened and considered what I have said and shared. I have grown a new appreciation for learning and getting good at stuff, an appreciation school hasn't and likely won't ever instill in the average person. And if it does, it's because of how shit school is at making people excited about learning. I'm sure the ones who feel inspired may have this looming question in their heads then. What do I try learning? And it's a daunting question. There are so many things you can acquire in knowledge and skills. How do you know that you'll even like what you're trying to dabble in? How much time will you have to put into it? Well, here's my suggestion. Reflect about your life up to this point. What have been things you've enjoyed doing in your life in any capacity? Think about the most memorable activities that you've spent time doing that stand out among the rest. Think about what you might tend to watch or follow news about on the internet? Do you find that you watch videos on training animals a lot? Or pottery videos? Pay attention to the trends you notice and what you tend to seek out and consume as media, and see what tends to make your brain excitable. What makes you excited to see some new article about or seeing a video and you're recommended that makes you click on it right away because it's that cool or interesting? More often than not, those are probably the best things to start with. Once you think you have recognized things which are exciting or interesting, take time researching those things and seeing what they all are about to a deeper degree than you know currently. See what you need to start, find resources which teach you how to do certain things, and find people to follow in regards to that topic. And keep your brain seeking for information involved with the hobby. This is the phase which will often dictate how much you actually enjoy this activity. If you are looking into it more and find it's not really that appealing sounding, I personally would say still try it with an open mind, considering it isn't too expensive to start. For sometimes seeing and hearing things about it doesn't necessarily do it justice. But if you really are losing interest, then I would say move on and look at something else. Repeat these steps for every new prospect until you find something or two that really jive with you. Once you've started them and know what they're like, then you can really just start practicing and actually doing the hobby. The most important thing to keep in mind when picking up a new skill is to not think you can't do it, or that it's too hard for you to do. The mind is a powerful thing. Believing in something about yourself for long enough will start to make your brain believe it to be true. And that's all it'll see. It doesn't mean you should tell yourself you are the best and can do anything. You just need to be reasonable and believe in yourself. Nothing stops someone from getting good at something more than self-deprecation and not believing in yourself and being able to improve. You don't need to be the GOAT. You just need to be the best that you could possibly be.
He was #1!
And put your best effort in and improve at your own rate. You will feel far more success and far more satisfaction with your work that way. And with that, I think I have said everything that I wanted to say for now. Again, there is science behind learning and using your brain, so I think there is a lot of truth to what I am saying in regards to the importance of gaining developing skills over time. There is also a science towards how to practice effectively and track improvement, which I may make as a follow-up video in the future if people would like to hear my insight on that. And that's it for me. Thank you for watching. I appreciate every one of you who take time out of your day. You are all awesome. If you enjoyed the video, do the subscribe and like things, or leave a comment, all that fun stuff.
It would be so awesome.
Also, feel free to check out my brand spanking new website, which I will have linked in the description. There you'll be able to see additional blog/discussion posts about whatever things come to me, some of which may be expanded on into videos perhaps. I also will have the floor open for discussion with myself and others on the site too, where we can discuss videos, I can answer questions, you all could answer questions even, and we can all just become a community, if that sounds at all appealing. You stop on by. I will be writing posts regularly, so you will have stuff to look forward to. And yeah.